Good morning, everybody. This is the Shiloh Institute with Del K. Brereton, Dr. David Israel, and Sister Nagalia. We are here to teach you Hebrew. Dr. Israel, good morning. Boker Tov.
Boker Tov,
Shabbat.
good morning. Shabbat Shalom.
So, Mashalom Ka.
אני מצוין, אנחנו בונים עולם חדש. אז כל מה שקורה פה זה פשוט זכות, ברכה, להיות פה ולחיות בדור הזה, אלו שיקבלו את ההזדמנות לבנות עולם חדש. So I'm excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay. Beseder. Toda. I'm not going to pretend like the elephant in the room is not there. You've been hearing a lot of bombs and things going off. You are in Israel. He is in Israel. For those who are coming to watch, and to all those and all the cyclopses that are in the building, he's in Israel. Tell us what's happening there, as far as the war that's happening with Iran. What's happening right now?
Well, first, give all honor and praises to the Creator of the heavens and earth. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Again, in order to understand what's happening here in Israel, we have to base it on Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible talks about what's called the times of the Gentiles. I know these may be new terminologies for the audience, and maybe at another time we can go into it in more detail. But let me put it like this. If you can put up that race slides, the narrative of the Bible begins with the Genesis. And I want us to be in agreement with what's called first principles. And first principles simply means there are basic points that we want to be on the same page as far as when we use these terms, right? Genesis. So we can say that I want to believe that everybody believes that there's a supreme being who created everything. In Hebrew, the name that was given was Yahweh. This is Hebrew, Yahweh, right? So it says that in the beginning, it's in English, God created the heavens and earth. Earth was formed without form and void. And then it says darkness covered. So in the beginning, that first verse, everything was okay, according to the Creator, in which wants us to refer to him as God or a king, the term king, right? And the objective of this king was to expand. You've heard this before, so this is nothing new. His objective was to expand his domain. Thus you have the term kingdom. So he created a world, an existence that can be seen. It was material, okay? Stars, planets, created the earth. But something happened in the beginning of that Genesis that caused darkness and darkness in Hebrew is disorganization. Make that clear also. Darkness is translated to disorganization. Okay. Light, organization. So in that second verse, third verse, fourth verse, we're looking at a creative process of organization. because things were disorganized. And we know that the scriptures say that the creator, Yah, is not the author of confusion. So the whole point about where this confusion came from, that's a whole nother thing. But just these first principles, a king wanted to establish a kingdom. You created the earth. He had to put it in order. On the sixth day, he created you and I. We went through an educational process that's called the breath of life, in which, before this educational process that gave us a consciousness as to how to operate on this earth, we were just souls. We've mentioned this before. Soul in Hebrew is talking about the internal organs. When we went through this educational, dedicational process, we became living souls. And after we became living souls, we were given our assignment, our work. This is very important now, what I'm getting ready to say. There's nowhere in the Bible that talks about the Creator wanted us to. This is going to sound strange, but I'm coming from a Hebraic perspective, okay, what's written in Hebrew. There's no word for worship. The word worship has its roots in the word work. So if you're, according to biblical scriptures from a Hebraic perspective, when you are connected to your work as far as helping with the organization of this darkness on this planet, then in modern times, well, from the perspective of Bible, Torah and Tanakh, that means that you are worshiping. If you're working, organizing something, taking it from a state of being disorganized to organized, from Hebrew perspective, that's worship. Okay, that's another lesson in itself. Something happened. And so Adam, again, is a singular. What word did you use last lesson?
I said he's a singular plurality.
Right. So I'm going to use the word singular collective.
Collective, right?
Just like you say, if you say family, that's a singular noun, but the essence of it is collective. So if you say the word group, team, so Adam is what you call grammatically so, linguistically so, a singular collective, because it says male and female created he them and
Right.
called their name Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So here it is, you have a civilization called Adam, and their charge was to have dominion. And dominion in Hebrew simply means to have administration over, to have stewardship over the creation. These are the first principles we're talking about, right? But something happened with this product called Adam. There was a glitch. That glitch manifested itself in the third chapter of Genesis with the idea of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. In other words, he was given instructions. I need you, a tree, and biblically so, relates to a person with a philosophy. Yah, the creator, Yahweh, you'll hear that name, Yahweh, okay? said, you are to work the garden. In other words, you are to use the gifts that you have been given through your educational process called the breath of life. And you can interact with any others that have philosophy in these gardens. That's so it's okay, except for one. That guy over there that has a philosophy that deals with good and evil, don't deal with him. And I said guy because we've been taught from that in Hebrew, the word that's used is nachash. Nachash. The word nachash literally means serpent, snake. Now, in Hebrew, the quality of a name reflects what that person is or what that person does. And we know this because when we were children, at least when I was a child, if my sisters got mad at me, one of the things that they would love to say, dog, you a dog. Now, I'm a dinosaur because I'll be 67, so I'm a dinosaur now. I've heard that if you call someone dog now, it's a compliment. Is that
It,
correct?
it
Dog.
depends where you come from.
Well, if north side of Chicago and down south where my mother's family
Yeah,
was,
yeah, that's
if you imagine they called you a dog, and if they really were upset with you, they would use the modifier adjective black dog.
mm,
you know, I'm saying that to say Nachash means snake. And it's the same idea because we're the same people. You're Adam, the same language. You'll be surprised when you go into Hebrew, you already speak no Hebrew in your souls. You've been speaking Hebrew, you've never stopped speaking Hebrew, and it's reflected in certain vocabulary words that we use. Hallelujah is a Hebrew word.
mm,
Amen is a Hebrew word. I've mentioned this to you before. Abracadabra is a Hebrew term. Okay, so going back, the Nachash was a person that had another philosophy that was dealing with some good stuff and then some bad stuff. And the instructions to Adam was simply don't deal with them. But there was a glitch. Adam dealt with it, male and female. They dealt with it. And because they dealt with it, and because the law was the day that you eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and you can eat through your ears by the knowledge that you accept, or naturally you eat with your mouth. The day that you listen to this and then consider and think that this is something good, you
digest.
that digestive process, you die.
Mhm.
But Adam lived 930 years. So, from a Hebraic perspective, our definition of death needs to be gone over because remember, we've been influenced by a Western democratic capitalistic society. So, when we think of death, we think of the body not moving. But biblically, so it starts be, as soon as you accept an idea
Mm,
that contradicts the laws that were given to you in Genesis. Because the
mm,
law was in Genesis, in Genesis not 1 and 29, it gives you dietary laws as to what you were supposed to eat to keep this body that came from the dust of the earth working in order for you to work. And it's basically based on a vegan diet. Genesis 1 and 29, you can read that. Okay. So,
but I'll say this though, Doc. If Adam didn't eat, if Adam did not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, was his eating for nutrition or was it for enjoyment? Because
I,
he wouldn't
I,
die.
I don't think that you can separate it. And this is one of the challenges that we will have to sit and talk about, because when Adam was created,
Mhm.
he was created in the idea of wholeness. WHOLENESS. But when that glitch appeared in the makeup of Adam, things became divided. The idea of duality was introduced into existence. And we've been dissecting things ever since. In the beginning, there was no duality, everything was whole.
Mhm.
That's why Yeshua could say, I am Yah, I am God,
Mhm.
because there was no separation between you being in the image and likeness of Yah, the Creator, and this body that you have. So there was at that point, Genesis 3rd chapter, a redemptive plan had to be established to get Adam back to wholeness, to get Adam back to the Genesis. So to equate this, to put this into a more visual scenario, can you put that first slide up with the on the starting line? I want the audience to think of a race. That one right there. Think of a race. The race, you have a starting point, okay? And the objective is the next slide, please. Objective is to get to the next one after that. Is to get to the finish. That's where Adam was in Genesis almost 7,000 years ago. He was at the starting line. The finish represented, Corinthians says, eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard the blessings. The finish represented an existence without heart disease and cancer and high blood pressure and broken families. That's one of the things, even everlasting life. So go back one, please. Adam was put there, and the referee, the guy with the gun, says, "On your mark, get set, go." And instead of running forward, Adam turned around and has been running backwards for almost 7,000 years now. 6,000, 7,000 years. If you want to get those blessings at the finish line, go to Deuteronomy 28, 114. This is the barometer as to if we are on the right track or if we are living souls. If you go through those scriptures, you've heard these before. Okay. I'm giving you an introduction so that you can understand what's happening in the world today. And because it's all connected to you. You cannot separate what's happening in Canada, America, wherever we are on the planet. You are Adam. And these are the ramifications that are taking place because we've been going through a quality control program up until this point. It's all quality control. Everything you went is quality. Are going through is quality control. It's to get you to the new Jerusalem again, the new heaven, the new earth, the new Adam. It's all quality control. Okay? So in this quality control program, we lost legal authority over this planet. And it was given to another people. So when you hear Iran and you look at the pictures that are shown on television, of the Iranians, those are not the original Iranians. When you look at Israel and you see the people here in Israel, these are not the original Israelites. This is not controversial, okay? All you have to do is just read. Everybody knows Newsweek in the 1990s put out an article. Uh, it headlined the magazine that Adam and Eve were dark skinned. Even when we say Africa, that's not the original name of that continent. So, from the biblical perspective, the original name of Africa is Eden. It didn't say Yah put the Adam in Africa, put him in Eden. And in order to really understand what's happening, we have to decolonize this English from Bible, Scripture, thus Hebrew. So, what's happening in Israel today? Again, remember, there are two Israels, there are two Iranians, there are two Egyptians, they're just like there are two South Africans. I even heard that there was, but we'll get back to that. Let's go over what happened. Let's go over what's happening. So, this is a 37-minute summary took place. Let's go 4 hours ago. Macron, okay, the head of state of France, right, agreed to accelerate negotiations between Europe and Iran on nuclear program. So France right now is backing Iran. 5 hours ago, 4 Revolutionary Guards, the Iranians, killed in northwest Iran. 6 hours ago, Turkey's Erdogan, the head of state of Turkey, says Israel attacks aimed to sabotage Iran nuclear talks. 6 hours ago, Iran's head of state says it will be very dangerous if U.S. gets involved in the war. At least 430 people killed and 3,500 injured in Iran since start of conflict with Israel. This is from the Iranian media report. 6 hours ago, Israel dragging Middle East into total disaster. This is what Turkey says. 7 hours ago, the United Arab Immigrants warns against prolonged Iran-Israel war. 7 hours ago, Putin says Russia has told Israel there's no evidence Iran wants nuclear weapons. All this is a distraction, but we'll talk about that. 9 hours ago, 5 Revolutionary Guards killed in Israeli attacks. Israel says it killed a Revolutionary Guards chief in an apartment. So this is what's an update at this point as to what's happening. Every night, every day, there are missiles being launched into Israel from Iran. All this is a distraction. When I say Iran, it's not that we're not talking about the ancient people.
Persia.
It's not talking about the Persians. They don't have anything to do with Nebuchadnezzar. When I say
Cyrus.
Israel,
King Cyrus. That's
same,
Nebuchadnezzar was Babylon. It means Cyrus.
right. It's not the same. Right, it was Cyrus, right? It's not the same thing when we say Israel, okay? And that's a lesson in itself. And this is not controversial. This is just information that all you have to do is just read. Read the book of Jeremiah, first chapter and the 10th verse, and it talks about the families of the north and how they would be brought. There'll be a judgment put on the ancient Edenic people. The original inhabitants of Europe were called Grimaldi. They looked just like you and I. But there were another people that were in the Caucasus Mountains area, Sweden, Norway, etc. Okay? So when I say these terms, you have to differentiate between the ancient world and then this what's called this times of the Gentiles. This is biblical talk that we're talking about. All this is biblical. So that's what's happening right now. We're witnessing the fall, just like all empires have the quality of rising. They stay there and then they die. So the Euro-American world Gentile power structure has been in existence for just about 300 years plus now.
500 years. Yeah.
And now it's descending. It's as simple as that. I say this from a historical perspective, but what we have to begin to focus on is the day after. Because biblically so, the day after is represented by the prophecy of Daniel, the second chapter and the 44th verse. Second chapter of Daniel, 44th verse, when it talks about the Creator establishing a kingdom that shall never be destroyed, and that this kingdom shall last forever. That's the one that we should focus on, because that's where, biblically so, our future lies. Thus, we have over 15,000 brothers and sisters in Israel today that represent that kingdom at this stage of its development. This is not, I'm not talking religion, bear with me now, okay? I'm talking about what's happening. This is nation building.
Can I ask you a
Is that
question?
sure?
Um, as far as yourself, have you been destabilized from the bombings and everything? Because I understand that, you know, your circumstances is challenging as well. And I just want I was telling folks, you know, we need to make sure that we support this brother. We consider you a national treasure over here. But just give us an idea of your situation and how the bombing has affected you personally.
I think last week we kind of talked about it. I told you about the seamstress,
Mhm.
right? I mentioned that, right? So
Yeah,
I don't
see,
need
I mean,
to.
that's in Dimona. I'm talking. You're in Tel Aviv,
Right, I'm in Tel Aviv, right?
right? Yeah. So
So definitely, it's caused an instability uh, uh, from all aspects.
mhm. Yeah, even now
Yeah.
for- he's
Tomorrow there
mhm,
is no work. Ever
mhm,
since this situation with Iran and Israel, for the past 2 weeks, there is no work, no going to work. The, you can't conjugate for over more than 30 people in one place.
mhm,
And everybody has to be no less than 2 minutes away from a bomb shelter,
right,
in which half of the buildings here do not have bomb shelters.
right,
There are a large majority of buildings that don't have a shelter at all. So
right.
what has been done is the malls have been turned into bomb shelters.
Okay.
Now, I'm saying that to say definitely it affects our way our live. You know, businesses can't open up,
Right. And you're in the library right now.
and
You're
right now, but it's closed. I just
right.
know the owner, and I told him I need your key, and he gave me his key,
Right.
and so I come in here, uh, and with again me looking at my phone because that's how everyone is notified that we only have a certain amount of time to get to a bomb shelter. So I have my phone right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if the alarms go off, I will have to apologize in advance now that I'll only have 2 minutes to get to a bomb shelter. And I don't want you to I'm from Chicago, so I still got cool in me, you know. So I don't fall apart. I don't panic and everything. I'm from Chicago, sorry, I can't do that. You know. But if I were to film the my Israeli family, you know, I feel sorry for them because they just panic. They
Right.
panic, you know. I mean, sweating and you know on the movies and everything.
And this, because I know you won't say it, but he's been destabilized himself, and so that's why we want to support him. Um, is you know people aren't looking to study now, schools are closed, so his income source is drastically affected, housing situation drastically affected. But we can get money to you, right? If I send you money to Western Union, which we've been doing with the school, that's still something that's easy for you to get.
Right. It depends on the season. If it's a on uh, if it's a barrage of missiles, then everything closes down.
Right.
And sometimes it closes down for a day or two. Just to,
So anybody who's listening to this who wants to support Dr. Israel, you can send me an email at delkbrereton@gmail.com or gloriouschurches@gmail.com, and we can get any donation sent over to him. If you're a church, we want to make him a mission and make sure that he's being supported. And I know him; he's going to return donations with Hebrew lessons. So we're going to make sure that he understands the organization that gives or the person that gives, and I'm sure some type of Hebrew curriculum will turn up from that. So for those who are interested in Hebrew, and even for those who are not, your donations will definitely facilitate yourself, or even if you wanted to gift that to somebody else, gift it to your pastor to take Hebrew lessons from Dr. David Israel. But the need is there, and I don't want us to continue because we're going into our lesson now and not identify that the need is there. He's definitely been destabilized over there, and so and even keeping your cell phone on is important. Like your cell phone is life, right? So I just want to make sure that we support you. We see you as a father, as a mentor, and we're going to make sure that you're okay over there.
appreciate that.
Okay. So what you got for us today? I know you got these WH words.
Let's put it up on the screen.
Put it up on the screen.
Quick review. And as you're doing that, let me just go back over as to where we are. We're in the process now of going into the construction of sentences. And so let's go back and understand what a sentence is. So a sentence is defined as a group of words together that expresses one idea. Sentence, a group of words together that expresses one idea. Every sentence has three elements. From that capital letter in English to that period, there are three elements, main elements of that sentence. The first is called a subject. You would be surprised as to how many read and do not know how to identify a subject in a sentence. And not being able to identify a subject in the sentence is like engaging in a conversation with someone, and after a few minutes, you turn to each other and ask, "What are we talking about?" So every sentence has a subject. The subject answers the question, who are we talking about, or what are we talking about in the sentence? It's the same in Hebrew. After the subject comes the second element of a sentence, and that's the verb. The verb. Now, if I asked you, I can't see your audience or anything. I don't know how many, but if anybody just wanted to participate, if I asked a few people to give me an example of a verb, I would assume that they would give examples that were taught to them. That these are words that express actions. So go is a verb, eat is a verb, study is a verb, uh, to translate is a verb. However, what was not emphasized in our language study is that all verbs have a father, have a source. And the source of all verbs is called the verb be, be, be. The infinitive, the word infinitive simply means to plus the main verb, okay, or base verb. So infinitive of be is to be. Infinitive is another name for a name of a verb, okay, which means the source. It's a big word, infinitive. It simply means the name of a verb. And if it's the name of the verb, then that means that it's not the verb, it's just the name of the verb. So if we say to be is not a verb. To be is this is important as far as Hebrew is concerned also. You have to know what an infinitive is. If I say to eat is not a verb, it's called the name of the verb, infinitive, all right? So to be is the infinitive, which means the name of the verb. But it has three forms: am, is, and are. Am is a verb. Now, I know that's kind of shocking because we've been conditioned to think that a verb is an action. Is a verb, but it's not a verb that expresses action. Are is a verb. Those are the three forms of the verb to be, the verb be. Now be with me now. I know that sounds shocking, but this is important because this is foundation. Am, is, are verbs. They don't express action. The verb be expresses being, being. You are Nagalia. That's the the ideal, the dynamic of being. He is Sarkolaya. That's the action of being. The verb be expresses existence. I am. It expresses facts and conditions. If I say she is, that expresses her existence. In understanding the name that the Creator had given Moses, when he asked the question, who shall I say sent me to do, sent me? Because you're sending me to a people that will eat me up. The Israelites, we don't mess with those guys. And you're telling me that I'm representing them? They don't like me like that. You can hear all that in that conversation. In that question, who shall I say sent me? Because you got to be able to back up. I'm going to need you if these guys turn to me.
I had to run out of there last time. They were trying to turn me into Pharaoh.
Absolutely. So he was asking some legitimate questions.
Right.
But when you go back and read that in the book of Exodus, it's interesting because the Creator was getting agitated for every question and remark Moses was presenting to him, to the point where the response in English from this quote unquote burning bush, and when you go into Hebrew, you're going to be shocked with the translation, the burning bush. You're going to be shocked when you study Hebrew. What we've been taught, I want to remind you of when the first time I found out that Santa Claus wasn't real. Soccer Live, I have to admit, I was hurt. It hurt me. It hit my heart. My 9-year-old heart, it just hit me, And that the Easter bunny couldn't lay eggs. That kind of hurt me. The bunny doesn't lay eggs.
Chocolate eggs too.
It hurt, So I'm saying that when you study Hebrew, it's going to come with a cautionary method.
I know, Doc, that we get so far deep into this, but you can't say stuff and not give us a little. What are we going to read in the burning bush story in Hebrew that is different from how it's rendered in English?
I'm glad you brought that up. Have them sign up for the course. Okay? Let's continue. I'm not going to let you have it. We got others. Because if I start this with you, they'll start it. We got to get through this level 1 first.
Just give us a little bit.
In other words, that's why now we understand why the instructions were given to Adam. Mm-hmm. Don't listen to this guy with this philosophy, because you have to be focused on what you have to do now, Adam. Mm-hmm. That's all it was.
All right, Adam.
All right. He had created the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Y'all created him. But he said, hey, there's a time for everything. Right now, don't take those training wheels off that bike yet. We still need those training wheels. So that's all it is. So my point is that the response to Moses was mistranslated into English. It says, I am that I am. That's a total mistranslation. The Creator, imagine, you are a inventor. You create a product. The product malfunctions. It's your responsibility, because you don't want to throw away the product, even though 2 times the Creator repented for creating Adam. He said, I'm just going to get rid of all of them. But my point is, you don't want to get rid of this product. So you put that product through a quality control program. So all through this quality control, everybody had started to call everything a god. The God of the water, the God of the fire, the God of the air, the God of everything that was beyond control of circumstances was called a God. So Yah's response was more so an emotional response. He said, listen, I will be. This is the accurate interpretation. I will be what I will be. That's the Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, for those that do
You
have
got cut off. The English version of what you said got cut off. I didn't hear.
The accurate English translation is I will be, not I am. I will be whatever I will be.
Mm-hmm.
But that was an emotional response. Read that again. When you read it, you'll see that the Creator was getting agitated. He had to remind Moses, I'm the God of your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I've done this, I've done that. And Moses was still saying, but who shall I say sent me? And the response was, I will be whatever you need me to be, whatever I have to be, whatever I will be. That's the future tense. I am is called present tense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only after that that he gives the name that he wanted at Moses and the people at that time to refer to him was, and that's the Yud Hey Vav Hey, the Tetragrammaton. Are we okay?
Yep. And many times that's confused. I remember at the beginning we thought, I am that I am. I thought that was many people think that's the Tetragrammaton.
No, the Tetragrammaton is a Greek word, which stems from the number 4.
Mm-hmm.
4 letters. Yud Hey Vav Hey. Let's get to the Hebrew now.
Okay.
So 4 forms to every sentence, a positive sentence, and then you have negative sentence, and these are not philosophical terms, positive, spirit is right, or negative, the spirit is not right. This is grammar, positive, negative, and then you have 2 forms of questions. You have what you call a yes-no question, in which the answer is yes or no, and then you have what you call a WH question. So let's look at the examples here on the screen. Sentences with the verb be. Sister Nagalia, can you read the positive sentence here?
The sister is there.
The sister is there. What's the subject of the sentence?
Sister.
The sister.
The sister.
Every word, I'm preparing you to be able to open the Tanakh and the Torah in its original language of Hebrew. And when you see a sentence, this is how we have to think. Here's a group of words together that expresses one idea. There are 3 elements to this sentence. In order for me to understand this sentence, I have to know, first of all, who are we talking about? Or what are we talking about in the sentence? In this sentence, the subject is the sister. The verb comes after the subject, is the verb be. And the word there, I want you to write this word down, is Sheen Memsofit. Write this down. Add this to your vocabulary. Sheen Memsofit. Under the Sheen, put a kamatz. How would you read that?
Sham.
Sham. Let that air flow. Sham. Sham means there. Add that to your vocabulary. How do you say sister?
Akot.
Achot. And what is the word in Hebrew for the definite article of the? The.
Ha.
What is it?
Ha. So how would I say the sister is there in Hebrew?
Ha'akot Sham.
Ha-achot sham. Ha-achot, that's the subject. This next one also needs to be understood. We said that the verb be is the father of all verbs. When we go into the name of the creator that was given in Hebrew, Yahweh, it is made up of the letters of be. The infinitive to be. Lihiot. Lihiot. Be with me now, because I would have to put that up on the screen. But this is why I'm making this point. The conventional Hebrew teacher will tell you that there is no am, is, and are in Hebrew. That would be incorrect. Am, is, and are, to be, reflects the essence of what and who the creator is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He told Moshe, that he will be whatever he needs to be. That means that he can. There's a song here in Israel that we sing, Adon Olam, but the chorus goes, I was, I am, and I will be. That's the creator.
Mm-hmm.
So to understand the Hebraic consciousness that we lost, I don't care if you call yourself Ghanaian, Nigerian, Chinese, French, I don't care. We all come from one place. And that place is heaven, but that's another word, that's another story in itself. You were a part, it's the creator, that force is a part of everything, and everything is a part of that creator in the beginning.
Right.
So there was no need for am, is, or are. So in Hebrew, we simply say the sister there.
Right.
The is, which represents existence, being is understood. It was understood. Everything was understood. There was no mosque in Genesis because it was understood. Yah was understood. We knew him. There was no temple in Genesis. And I'm not saying anything new. You can read it. So bottom line, am, is, and are is understood. When you teach, don't say there is no am, is, and are. We know the other values and principles that you have. If you hear people saying, there is no am, is, and are. Yes, there is. It's just understood. It's Yahweh.
I have a question for you. So
Okay.
when you hear Shem and Sham, does it cause you to have to second, I guess in the context that, because Shem means name.
Shame with sere, isn't it? Shame.
Shame, right. Shame.
Right.
But this is Sham.
And this is Sham, right, with the
Means
commas. Right.
Means there.
Right. Now I'm going to say this. I don't want anybody to run out and buy any books. But in order to understand that, we would have to go all the way back to pictograph Hebrew.
Paleo?
Even before paleo, pictograph.
Okay.
Hebrew. I'm not going into that. Let's not open that door on there. Our objective is I want you to have your conversational skills intact so that when you go into scripture, you already understand. Oh, this is a sentence, subject,
Mhm.
verb, complement.
Right.
That's what we want now. We want you right now that if you want to introduce yourself in Hebrew, basic conversation in Hebrew, you can do it. And you're not far from it. Are we okay?
Okay.
Ken.
All right. So the sister is there. Say it again, Sister Nagalia,
The
in Hebrew.
sister. Oh, sorry. Ha-akot. Sorry. Um, the sister is there. Ha-akot sham.
Ha'achot Sham. And let
Now,
that
is it ha'akot or is it hakot?
Ha'achot, two
Achot.
words. But remember that we've learned that the indefinite, if you have a one letter word in Hebrew, it's connected to the word it's connected to the word it's referring to,
Correct. In its pronunciation or just writing?
even in the pronunciation.
Yeah,
With the
so we're
right
saying ha'akot as opposed to
right,
hakot.
ha, and then wait, achot. It's ha'achot.
So
I'll
there's
give
no
you an
pause.
there's no pause there. I'll give you
Yeah.
an example of that. The first, what people would say, what's the first word of the Genesis?
In the beginning.
In the beginning, that's a prepositional phrase.
Mhm.
It's a prepositional phrase. In, and then beginning, right?
Mhm.
But the thing about it is, how do you say the in Hebrew?
Ha.
Uh,
Ha.
ha,
Say it again.
Ha.
ha,
Say it again.
Ha.
ha.
But in Hebrew, in they've mistranslated to in the begin, but you don't hear ha. In Hebrew, it's birashit,
Beresh-
birashit.
Bereshit.
And be is another one letter Hebrew preposition. It means in.
I thought it
In
means
Hebrew,
A.
wait, be with me now.
No.
In Hebrew, there is no a, and, or the. It's understood.
Mhm.
So if I want to say in a house, you say by. If I want to say in the house, and I'm going over this because we've already studied this, right? If I want to say in the house, you would have to hear ba, ba, bite, ba, bite. But if I say by it, it's in a house.
Trying to call.
You'll get it.
If you say ba, it means that
It's in the,
you're in ba.
and then the.
Yeah, because you're using the hay and what the B is
That's the word. The
the
bait
bait.
is the word.
The bait is
It's
the
the
word.
preposition in. But if I want
Right.
in the, ha is a hey with a
Ha.
commas. So we don't write it be ha. We just take the ah sound and put it with the bait. Ba, bite. So it doesn't say
So in the
ba.
house, ha by.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
never say beha. You just put the ah sound with the bait.
Ba.
Ba. You're
Right.
getting it. You're getting it. You're getting it. Ba. But in Hebrew, the mistranslation is in the beginning, but it's supposed to be in a beginning.
Mhm.
It wasn't the beginning. When you hear these debates on does Genesis mean that the whole world, the planets and everything were created 6,000 years ago? And geologists and all types of experts say that's impossible. That's impossible. Well, Genesis was a beginning, just like Noah was a beginning. Just like Abraham was a beginning. Just like the kingdom of David was a beginning. And we're going into a new beginning with the advent of the emergence of the kingdom of Yah on the planet, on earth. Daniel 2 and 44. So there always been beginnings, but scripture was talking about a specific beginning, a beginning that was needed to put order in a earth, in dynamic that was disorganized. Are we okay?
Yeah. Ken.
All right. So the sister is there. Let's go over the negative now. In Hebrew English, we know we have two words that we use for negative. We have no, N-O, which is used for just a short response in the negative. And then that no changes into not in a sentence. So, as we've studied already, the sentence is the subject, the sister, and then not is simply lamed aleph, lo. And then you have the complement there. So, Sarkolive, how would you say the sister is not there?
I would say ha okot lo sham.
After 2,000 years, you're putting sentences together again in a language that was yours, given to you in the Genesis. Say it again.
Ha okot lo sham.
They put a plan together that you would never think of reconnecting back to your original language. Say it one more time, please.
Ha okot lo sham.
That's why when you speak Hebrew, you catch their attention. They run back into their offices, into their laboratories and say, he's speaking Hebrew. I can't wait for the movie to come out. They're speaking Hebrew. What do we do? That's impossible. We've taken them from their land, stripped them of their culture. We forced them to accept a language that's not theirs. What are you saying? They're speaking. I can't wait for the movie to come out. Now, let's go to the yes-no question. So in English, we have the positive sentence. I'm going into the mechanics of the structure, the construct of a sentence. The positive sentence, the sister, the subject, the verb is, and the complement is there from the word complete. In a yes-no question, if you look at the yes-no question, can you read it, Sarkoliah, in English?
The sister is not there.
The yes-no question.
Is the sister there?
So notice what we do mechanically, because language is based on the difference between linguistics and language. Language deals with the essence of the language, of the whole dynamic. Linguistics deals with the constructs of it. So from a perspective of constructing, we simply switch the verb be with the subject in order to form a yes-no question. Now, unfortunately, with my cousins down south, and I have to admit also that I'm also guilty of it at times when I speak English, we thought that it was okay to ask a yes-no question like this. If the saints can, the sister is there, and we thought that you have to shake your head in order to do that. Yet you have to add that shake in the head. You in Canada? You understand? That's what we were taught. But in English, you're supposed to switch that verb be, am, is, and are with the subject. Is the sister there? And I think that's a more healthy way of doing it because you put a lot of strain on your neck and shoulders with that shaking of the head all the time, asking those questions, you know? So, yes, no question. Now, listen carefully. You're going to have to write this out. In order to form, we're going to do this and we'll stop, okay? In order to form a yes, no question, we begin that question with the Hebrew word. And I want you to write this out. Hey, Aleph, Mem Sofit. Do not write in block form. Because I'll ask you to put your what you've written, your notebooks up so that I can see it.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, Olive.
Mem Sofit.
Absolutely.
Don't let me have to leave Israel and come to Canada and check your notebooks.
We want you to come.
The only one that has to be changed there is the Olive.
Hey,
True.
Aleph,
Yes.
Mem Sofit.
Mm.
Hey, Aleph, Mem Sofit. Now, under the hey, put a commas.
Mm-hmm.
And under the Aleph, put a kirik. How many syllables do you say?
Two.
2 syllables. Can you read it, please?
Hayim. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
Hayim.
Haim.
Ha'im. Now listen very carefully. Very carefully. You're studying Hebrew from a Hebraic, Shemetic, Afro-Shemetic perspective. The original perspective of Hebrew. If you say the word Haim, if you come to Israel and start your yes, no question off with Haim, people will tell you, oh, we don't say that. All you do is smile, and I want you to understand, then that person that tells you that came from an Ashkenazi Yiddish perspective of Hebrew.
The European. Hayim.
Ha'im, anytime you want to ask a yes, no question. Now, I'll tell you where they do use that ha'im. If you are giving a formal presentation, if you're in a formal environment, you want to use the word ha'im. Again, unfortunately, education and academia today turns people into good employees, not employers.
Right.
You're getting Hebrew from an Afro-Shemetic perspective, meaning that you are created in the image and likeness of the Creator. Kings.
So when they hear Hayim, they know a question is coming.
Absolutely. There
So
is no translation for it. But in the ancient world, our forefathers language was important. The way you expressed yourselves was important because, like David said and Solomon said, understanding, pursue wisdom, pursue knowledge, but most of all, understanding. So language was important.
In the Bible, if the sentence goes, is there anything too hard for God? Is Hayim in that sentence?
So this is what your homework is. You find that, then use your blue letter Bible, and then you tell me that, because I want you to start getting used to now going into Scripture and investigate.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be independent with this Hebrew. I'm looking forward to the day that you come and bring something that was in your spirit, your will, purpose, and intent. When I say spirit, I'm talking about will, purpose, and intent. Okay, that brings about revelation. That's what intellects do. Okay, so let's get back to it. Hayim. Now, you simply put the Hayim at the beginning of the positive sentence.
Ah, okay.
Easy, right?
It is, yeah.
If you want to construct a yes/no question, put the Hayim at the beginning of the positive sentence.
Mm-hmm. So Hayim Ha-Akot Sham.
Right, but use the innotation. It could go high. Hayim ha'akot, like Sister Nagalia likes to do.
Hayim. Hayim.
So Hayim Ha-Akot Sham.
Excellent. That's how you put the yes/no question together. So our conventional Hebrew teachers will simply give you questions and they'll say, write them down and practice these questions, as opposed to giving you the tools to construct questions and sentences and paragraphs on your own.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to become a Hebrew scholar. It's easy to get your language again. And it's more convenient now. You're kings and queens. English is not your mother tongue. It's your birth language. So we'll stop right there.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Appreciate you. You have homework now. I want 5 sentences, please.
Yes.
Subject, verb, complement with the verb be, am, is, and are in English, and then translate it into Hebrew.
Just say good morning here to Black Panther X. Bless you, brother. One of the regulars on the spiel. And all praises to the Most High. Black Panther X, my brother from another mother. Miss Ann is here. Miss Ann is one of the longest tenured people we got out here. So she said peace and blessings early. She was one of the first. So this is Dr. David Israel, everybody. So just take a look at the broadcast. I know it's long. We get into some stuff. If you love the Lord and you love His Word, ain't nothing too long for you. But Doc, thank you again. Toda Rabbah.
If I may just say something very quickly.
Go ahead.
I don't want anyone to think that. Don't let your age think that you can't get this.
Right.
That's another misconception that was put into our minds, that I can't get it. That's not true.
Yeah. And there are older people who have come to Dimona, been in Dimona for 50 years and still didn't get the Hebrew.
Absolutely. Because
That's
there's a time for everything. As far as when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Sister Nagalia, say something.
Hello, and I'm so excited for all the knowledge that we've received so far. So thank you. Toda Rabbah, Dr. Israel.
Toda lach.
We're grateful. Thank you.
Toda lach.
Doc, until next time, please keep your head down. And I'm
we keep our heads up, so we keep our heads up because we know that those our names are not on those. But we're wise though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wear the helmet of salvation while you keep.
Right. Right.
Right, right,
And I'm gonna
right.
say it again. I'm gonna say it again to you. Get out of Tel Aviv, please. Go somewhere else for a while. We'll hang out somewhere else.
This is our land.
I
This is
know
our
Tel
land.
Aviv. I just said Tel Aviv. I didn't say get out of Israel. I said get out of Tel Aviv. Do
There's-
you? And somebody asked me, does Dr. Israel have a passport to come back to Canada or come to America? And I said that man ain't going nowhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
No.
Not at all. For what?
That man ain't coming.
2,000 years. 2,000 years we've been sojourning, and I'm home now. I want to go somewhere. No. There's too much here. That's why I'm keeping my health, trying to keep my health up because there's too much. 100 years, 120 years is not enough time to love, to reconnect to brothers and sisters like yourselves, and then experience this land again, northeastern Africa again. 100 years is not enough. 120 years is not enough.
And that's why people didn't leave Gaza. And that's why people are not the 100 million people in Iran. Not everybody's leaving. Some people think just like this man and say, this is my home and I'm not going anywhere.
Absolutely.
So, God bless you. And we will see you soon and talk to you sooner.
Torah.
Okay. God bless everybody on the spiel.
Shalom.
Shalom. Stream.